I'm 69 years old. About 3 months ago, I signed a lease on a small one-bedroom apartment. It has a balcony that faces east, and I found myself watching the sunrise from there nearly every morning. I never imagined I'd leave a marriage after 47 years, but here I am. It wasn't anything sudden, no affairs, no dramatic betrayal. It was just the slow accumulation of years quietly pressing down until I couldn't carry it anymore. I met Thomas when I was 22, and we married a year later. Back then, that's how things happened. You met someone steady, someone with a good job, and you built a life together. And we did build one. 3 children, a house in the suburbs. From the outside, it probably looked like the perfect marriage. Thomas wasn't cruel. He didn't drink, he never raised his voice. He went to work, came home, provided for the family. But somewhere along the way, I began to feel myself fading. It didn't happen in one big moment. It was small, almost invisible things. Early in our marriage, I told Thomas I wanted to go back to school, maybe study literature, maybe teach someday. He said, "That's nice, Eleanor, but we're saving for a house later." That later never came. When the kids were small, I suggested we take weekend trips, something to break the monotony. He would shrug and say, "We have a nice home. Why sleep somewhere uncomfortable?" I didn't push. There was always a practical reason to wait. So I tucked away those desires. I tucked away so much of myself over the years. I felt a version of me slipping away, the one that wanted, that dreamed, that had ideas that didn't fit neatly into our life. Thomas didn't erase me intentionally. I don't think he even noticed. I cleaned the house, raised the children, made dinners, attended conferences. I smiled at barbecues, sent holiday cards with photos of a happy family. I was a good wife, a good mother, but I wasn't good at being myself because I had almost forgotten who that person was. I remember lying in bed one night, maybe 15 years into our marriage. Thomas was already asleep, and I realized I couldn't remember the last time we had talked. Not about bills, not about the kids, but about anything real. When was the last time he'd asked me a question about what I thought, what I felt? I couldn't remember. Lying there in the darkness, I felt a loneliness I had never known. But I said nothing. I didn't know how to explain that you could feel utterly alone next to someone you'd shared a life with for 15 years. So I turned over and slept. That became the pattern. Feel, push down, carry on. The children grew up, moved out, started their own lives. Suddenly, it was just Thomas and me, and the silence became unbearable. We'd spend entire evenings without speaking. He'd watch TV. I'd keep busy with something. Sometimes I tried to talk, mention something I'd read, or share a thought, but he'd give a polite, half-hearted reply and return to the screen. Eventually, I stopped trying. I told myself this was just what long marriages were like, settled, comfortable. But it didn't feel normal. I felt like I was living with a stranger, a polite, distant stranger I had promised my life to. 2 years ago, Thomas took me out for my birthday dinner, a nice restaurant, jewelry, a card I'll probably never wear. Sitting across from him, I looked at him and realized I didn't know him. Not really. And worse, he didn't know me. 45 years together and still strangers. I started thinking about the time I had left, 10, maybe 15 years. Could I really spend all of that in that silence, in that house, fading away? Something inside me broke. I tried talking to Thomas. One evening after dinner, I turned off the TV and said, "I don't think we really know each other anymore." He frowned. "What do you mean?" he asked. I told him how alone I felt, even when I was with him. He paused and said, I don't know what you want me to do about that, Eleanor. That was it. No follow-up, no effort, just dismissal. I carried that for months without telling anyone. The growing certainty that I couldn't do it anymore weighed on me. Guilt, selfishness, a sense of betrayal. And yet I felt clear. I found the apartment in January. When I told Thomas I was leaving, he looked at me like I was crazy. You're 69 years old. What are you doing? I told him simply, I'm leaving. He asked why, what he'd done wrong. How could I explain it? It wasn't one thing. It was 1,000 tiny moments over decades, the times I had made myself smaller, the years I had chosen agreeability over honesty. I moved out on a Tuesday morning. I didn't take much, just some clothes, a few books. The kids have been kind, mostly concerned. I know they see it as a crisis, but I won't go back. This apartment is quiet too, but it's a different quiet. Not heavy, not loaded with the things I can't say, just space. I don't have a grand plan, only the intention to stop disappearing. On the balcony, watching the light change, sometimes I cry, not out of sadness exactly, but because I feel. And feeling, even when it's hard, is better than feeling nothing at all. If you're listening, maybe you understand, maybe you don't. Thank you for letting me speak it aloud. From No Filter Advice,